Today I'm going to demonstrate hanging a light. There's several ways you can hang a light safely. There's a million ways you can hang a light unsafely. I'm just going to do a quick demo of one way to get a light on a pipe easy, quickly, efficiently, safely, and maybe demonstrate a couple things about the lights themselves. Otherwise it'll be materials we've gone through in class or things that I've demoed during our class hour. So first of all, we need a light. Here is one. It's a Source 4 ellipsoidal. It's probably 15 pounds, maybe a little bit more. It's got a little bit of weight to it. And the parts of the instrument, the exterior parts, are all things that are indicated on the handout that you took a look at. Something you'll see on these lights, I got to flip this one around a little bit, is this number, 19 degrees. That means that the angle of light coming out of the front is 19 degrees. These can be swapped in and out. I'll show you a different example. There's a single nut right here. You can loosen with your fingers, and you can take that whole barrel assembly or lens tube assembly, either you can call it either. You can take it out and swap it with another one. This is 19 degrees, which is pretty narrow. And here is a 50 degree barrel. So if I want to, without moving the light itself, I can just take this part out of that light, put it in a different one, and I have a light that's throwing a different spread of light, a different degree of light. So the first thing, especially with it hanging in ellipsoidal, because these are a little bit heavier than some of the other lights, is make sure nothing's dangling, nothing's hanging down, nothing's going to snag you, especially if you're up in the catwalks. You want to make yourself absolutely comfortable and secure. I'm standing on the main stage, so there's not much of an issue. The way that I like to do this, to keep it as safe as possible, is to put it around the pipe or the batten, same thing, like this, hang on to it, put this hand on and hold it. Now I can let go with this hand. I'm just fine. This isn't slipping off, we're secure. And then I finger tight the big bolt right here. At this point I can let go if I'm flat against. It cannot slip off of the pipe in this position. Nothing is tight, but it can't just leap right off of the pipe. So once I have it here, just finger tight, the next thing I usually do is tighten it right away. For that, you can use anyone? An adjustable wrench, a crescent wrench. Again, two words for the same tool. These are fine. You adjust the width. You adjust it to fit this bolt. How tight do you make it? Well, you'll see. About this tight. A quarter turn, maybe more, a third of a full turn, maybe half a turn. Really, really heavy lights that are hanging at a goofy angle, you want to make sure it's pretty good and tight. But don't over tighten it. You'll ruin the threads on the bolt, and they'll be ruined. I've even seen some where the clamp itself was bent because somebody over tightened it. That sounds crazy, but it does happen. So now it is secure. Now it can't even come off at all. You've got the pipe hung here. Now you start to unravel everything. Now you can start to unravel everything. Take the cord, let it hang free, and we're tangled in a safety cable, which isn't too unusual. You've got that free. Put the safety cable on. Usually they're just like this. They're this simple. It's a little carabiner on a steel cable. Now we have our safety cable on. Then we would get it roughly pointed to where it's supposed to be. From the light plot, you can tell, oh, this light is supposed to hit that particular part of the stage. Well, we can kind of aim it. There's the big wing nut on the side here. You loosen that, and we can pivot this way now. And I tighten this, it holds it in that position. We're just going to be demonstrating a rough focus, not an actual focus. The other thing you would do with an ellipsoidal, this is an ellipsoidal, is pull the shutters out. That's these four big tin handles. They pull out. They need to be pulled out. If they're pushed all the way in, you turn the light on, it's pitch black. If it's a good instrument, it's pitch black. Some of the old lights, you'll see a little peak of light coming out the front. That's what the shutters are for blocking the light. So we don't want the light blocked. We want to pull all the shutters all the way out. Then we take the cord, we come over to a circuit. Make sure I've got this in the frame. We come over to a circuit. This happens to be circuit 78, and we plug it in. Not quite done yet. One of the problems right here is we got a lot of cord hanging down. It might even hang in front of the light. That's bad. So I'm going to unplug it. It's a tight fit. And I'm just going to loop around the pipe once. Don't make a whole big knot out of the cord, but just enough. There. Now we're clear of the lights. We should be good to go. Our shutters are pulled. The light is secure. I'm going to use the adjustable wrench one more time on the side of the C-clamp here. On the side of the C-clamp here is the small nut. I call it the pan nut. I think the documents I gave you called it something else. But you loosen that just a little, about that much. Now I can pivot it this way. So I know I want to point it, roughly over there. Okay. Make sure it's finger tight. Tighten it. Again, about 1/8 of a turn. Any more and you can even break this nut off. We have a lot of old C-clamps that have this particular bolt or nut broken off with the threads jammed inside. So don't over tighten it. You should be able to go to the light once you have it correctly hung, when you're all done, and give it a little shake, and it shouldn't move. And it's not move. Well, it shakes, but it's not pivoting, it's not tipping, it's not loose on the pipe or the batten. Everything is good and secure. If we want to take a light off of the pipe, it's practically the reverse procedure. I've seen students struggle taking the clamp off, taking the cords, leaving this for last, and now they're awkward and they're sitting in the catwalk doing it all kind of awkwardly, I guess is the best way to put it, and actually dangerously. First thing I usually do is unplug it. Okay. Then I undo the safety cable. We're bolted to the pipe. This isn't going to go anywhere. Undo the safety cable. I loosen the big hand nut here to tip it straight down. Starts to get everything really, really straight. Push all the shutters in. Take the power cable, go around the instrument once, and just tuck it in like this. That's simple. Please don't, do not come through the yoke a bunch of times. It makes it really difficult to untangle them later. Just take the cord, just go around the body of the instrument. There's usually just the right length, and just drop it in like that. Pretty simple. Now, everything is done except it's bolted to the clamp. Bolted to the pipe. Okay, I'm finger tight. I put the wrench away. I'm hanging onto it with this hand. I'm hanging onto it with my left hand as I'm loosening this with the right hand. It can't come off the pipe. I'm holding it on the pipe. That should be enough. Get a good grip. Lift it right off of the pipe. A couple of other things. Again, an adjustable wrench. We're standing on the stage, fine. If you're going to be up in the air on the catwalks or on a ladder or in the grid over the stage, you want a safety line on here, about 3 feet of cord, and you tie the other end to yourself, to a belt loop, to something on your body that's secure, so that you can't drop this from a height and hurt somebody working under you. I have a small example of this. And by the way, this is actually a specialized wrench made just for lighting instruments. It will fit every single nut and bolt on that light, and this is how big it is. It's tiny. Fits in a pocket. I have a safety line on it. The other end, I have a loop. I put this through my belt, put this through it, and this is secure. When I drop it, it isn't going to go anywhere. It'll be right there. One other thing I'd like to show you here in the theater is the gel frame. The gel slot, the gel frame. This is the gel itself. It's marked with a number, R82. This is a particular number, or I'm sorry, a particular color by a particular manufacturer. We know that this is kind of a dark blue, very blue. Take two. So when you put the gel in, sometimes you have to kind of slide it from one edge to get it to fit in. Now the gel is in the gel frame. It goes into the gel slot. Some lights have two slots in the front. This, by the way, is not an ellipsoidal. It's a different kind of light that we call a Parnell. Don't worry about that. But it fits into the slot. And then on all modern lights, there's some sort of safety to hold it down so that it can't pop out. Particularly, some lights are kind of hung at goofy angles, maybe straight down. There's a possibility this could work its way out. This little safety clip keeps it from falling out. The way to open this particular clip, different lights had different ways of doing this, is you push it to this side and lift up. To lock it, similarly, I had to push it to that side and pivot it down. And you could hear it click into place. Older lights may not have that safety feature. If you're working with me on hanging lights for a show, and again, this translates to RTF, it translates to music, you have performance spaces, use very, very similar lighting. These skills apply exactly in music and in RTF. If you're working with me, we would have a light plot. You wouldn't be given a light plot with 50 or 100 lights on it at a time. You'd be given a small section of it blown up so that you can work from it. You'd go up, you'd hang your 5 lights, 10 lights, whatever they are. I will usually ask you not to plug them into the circuits until you're done with all 5 lights or all 10 lights. Don't plug any of them in. The reason is we have a limited amount of circuits. Here you can see 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83. Well, here there's quite a few. But sometimes you have to strategize. Okay, I've got 12 lights. I want to plug it into, well, I guess I have 12 circuits, but they're all over the place. Figuring out which light is going to be the best use of a circuit so that I don't have to run 12 extension cords to plug in 12 lights. Maybe if I strategize it right, I can just plug in 6 or 7 lights right where they are and get away with 4 or 5 extension cords, something like that. So I might ask you not to plug them all in until you have all the lights hung in the right position. It saves time down the road. Some of the other things about lighting we'll talk about in class and or will be on the handouts that you receive. Happy Monday.